So yes, that is the dream. Hopefully we do get to cut down on email a lot.
I'm Jason Warnke, part of the Accenture internal IT organization, and I'm glad to be here today with Bill Schulz, who's Accenture's Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business operations and projects lead. Wow, that's quite the title, Bill. We're here today to talk about Microsoft Teams and the features it offers as it will eventually replace Skype for Business. I personally use Teams for most of my calls and communications these days, and I think it's great. Thanks for joining me today, Bill, and let's get into it.
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me. Sure, let's talk about Teams, and we can also talk about shortening my title, too.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, so first off, it would be great if you could explain to everyone what Microsoft Teams is and how it's being used.
Sure. Teams is the next generation collaboration client that brings together basically all of Office 365. It combines chats, meetings, notes, attachments, your files, everything into one space where you can get to it. Hopefully this will change the way we collaborate and reduce the number of emails we get. It's not your grandpa's AIM client.
Excellent. How are you using it today with your team?
So today we're using it to run operations, projects, a lot of different things. For operations, we've seen that a lot of things where we used to get like 4 or 5 emails a day about this different status and health. We now post those into the teams. It's much easier to find them, to sort through the operational checks and things that we do. It's also easier to run incidents. It's just a one-stop shop to go in and look at everything and be able to find, where your knowledge bases are. The health of your application and other things. We've all posted that in Teams, and it's much smoother and easier to find than having to go, open up various web browsers, different emails, et cetera, to find all that information.
Interesting. I've heard several people, including myself, I use this quite a bit, refer to Microsoft Teams as a digital cockpit. What do we mean by this exactly?
So we think that it's going to be where most teams spend most of their times going forward. It's like the Meta OS or something that sits right above the OS layer that kind of, combines all of the things that you most commonly use. It's also going to have third-party apps integrated into it. So a lot of the things that you used to have to go open up everywhere else, hopefully now it'll be in Teams and you can just go there and open it up and find all the stuff that you need to do and work in Teams. And hopefully you're only using email for things that are outside of your immediate team that you have to work with.
Right. So the concept of bringing services and documents and updates, et cetera, to the team to where they're naturally spending their time and collaborating instead of having them do collaboration one place and do document collaboration another place and do other application work together somewhere else. You bring it all together. Sounds like it's a great way to keep all of your information in one place. Are there any features that will be coming out for Teams that we could let the listeners know about? What are we most excited about in the Accenture implementation of Teams?
Yeah, there's plenty of new things coming. PPT sharing is just released. Also screen blurring on videos. So if you have a messy office like me, you can turn on screen blurring and no one will ever know. Dial-in conferencing.
That's super cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. Dial-in conferencing is coming. We're testing that right now. Live events, which is the replacement for Skype meeting broadcast, will be coming.
Now, dial-in conferencing, let's talk about that for a second, because we do calls on Teams all the time. What's the difference with the dial-in conferencing?
Well, the dial-in conferencing will now be hosted by Microsoft, so all we'll have to do is get the right licensing and turn it on. We're testing it right now to make sure that we have all the numbers we need and that everything will work, but it should just have all the same numbers in there that you're used to in the past, and you should be able to dial out and get, if necessary, get that dial-in conferencing.
Excellent. So if you aren't using Teams as in the browser or the client or the phone, and you just want to dial in from a landline phone or even a mobile phone on the go, it will allow you to do that.
Yep. But I will point out that the mobile client is 1,000 times better. So I wouldn't be dialing in. I would be using the mobile client.
That's right. So by having everything centralized and with the ability to share files and have a persistent chat with your colleagues, will Teams actually reduce the amount of email that our people deal with? And will we be able to integrate applications into Teams?
So yes, that is the dream. Hopefully we do get to cut down on email a lot. Teams will eventually allow us to also do application development directly within it. So we're hoping that that also provides other avenues for teams to create their applications and do messaging within Teams itself. So also persistent chat should cut down on the amount of email and having to search back through your email. If people are using Teams to collaborate on their everyday messaging instead of having to exchange emails, they should just be able to go in and have a more natural conversation instead of having to exchange, more formal emails back and forth.
Yeah, the thing that I am talking to more of our teams about is if they're building in their business applications, if they've got microservices that are available, can we take those and land them inside of as another channel, not the only channel, but another channel, land those services directly into Teams? As we said, the natural flow as the team is working together is to stay in that cockpit and get things done. And if there are things that a business application provides, whether we're talking about a sales platform or a contracting platform or a business management platform, all kinds of different business applications that are out there, instead of having those team members have to go to a bunch of different places to get that work done, bring those microservices right in line with the conversation. Then I think one of the other things that we've talked about that's pretty exciting is the integration of bots directly into that conversation as well. So it's not only, my 10-person human team that is interacting on Teams, but increasingly that sort of human plus machine teaming on this great platform. I think that's a pretty exciting prospect for us.
The ability to be able to just open up another little area within Teams and say, do your time report. Or alternatively, if you think farther out, if with some of the AI that's being talked about, potentially Teams could know where you're spending your time and fill out your time report and say, hey, your time report's filled out. Does this look right to you? And then submit it, right? So things like that, the potential out there is endless to develop applications and build things within Teams that integrate with how we do work and hopefully reduce the time we spend doing things that are not immediately relevant to our jobs that we're working on right now. So that's right. The long-term goals, right?
I think that is absolutely, when we talk about human and machine teaming, the prospect that you just provided there, the idea that sort of ambient intelligence is there alongside the team, sort of looking for opportunities to help out. A platform like this really is where I think that will come to fruition. So I'm excited to see that. So we talk a lot about collaboration inside of the organization with all these things that we just talked about, but will our users be able to interact with people outside of the immediate organization?
So Federation, just like we have in Skype, will be coming soon, shortly. Federation will also be changing a little bit in that we'll be doing open federation, which means that we don't have to go through the formal process that we used to bring in a new client. As long as they have Teams and are configured to have the access to do federation, you should be able to reach out to them just naturally, not have to follow some process to get them enabled and for us to be able to talk with them. Additionally, guest access, which is the ability to bring people into our teams and to share all of the material within a team with those individuals. When they're outside of our organization, that's difficult to do today, and we're working on getting that turned on as well. So there's a few things that we're working on to get that collaboration with our external vendors and clients, and we're hopeful that that's turned on shortly.
That's awesome. It's what I've referred to from time to time, that true borderless collaboration, where it might work really well inside the entity, the organization, but it then becomes difficult. You then had to, in the past, resort to email or phone calls to bring those outside players in. And now we can do that with something like Teams. Very cool. So one last question for today. Since this is a Microsoft product, I know a lot of people out there are wondering, will there be difficulties for people that are Mac users, whether it's a Mac OS device or an iOS
So Microsoft
device?
really built this to be kind of a borderless communications platform on all different platforms. So it should not be something that is held up by a different operating system. It should work on Microsoft. It should work on Apple. It should work on Android. There may be a little bit of a lag on some of the features that come on some of the other platforms, but I know that they're trying to keep those up to date. And so, no, this should not be something that is that holds people up from adopting it, that they're using an Apple or they're using their Android device.
In fact, I've seen a lot of amazing progress on feature parity between the Office products on Mac OS, iOS, and Windows. And what I love about Teams is it was one of the first products from the start to be designed to work the same on both. So we've heard tremendous things from people that are Mac and iOS users. I myself am a Windows user on my laptop, but then a pretty big user of Teams on my iPhone, and the experience is tremendous. In fact, the sort of companion experience where you can join a meeting from your laptop and then join via your iOS device or other. It could be an Android device. And you now have this great experience where the meeting can span across, the features of the meeting can span across the laptop and your mobile device, which is kind of really cool. So something we've never been able to do before with Skype for Business.
Yeah, it was truly built to be a platform independent and really works well on the mobile device. I will stress that. I do agree with you wholeheartedly on the mobile device.
Absolutely. Yeah, some really great feedback from folks out there. So, been a really exciting topic. We're still early in this journey, but we're super excited to see where this goes and see how this evolves in terms of the way that people use it, the various use cases, the new features that will be coming. But so far, so good. This has been lots of great feedback from the field, and it's filling a lot of gaps that have been there for quite some time. So thanks for joining me today, Bill. It's been a great discussion.
Thanks, Jason.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the Accenture CIO podcast series on iTunes for all episodes.